Welcome to the C-Suite at the Open Video Series with TMX Group. I'm Arnie Goldstein, Head of Company Services based out of Vancouver, and joining me today is Martin Turenne, the President and CEO of FPX Nickel Resources. Welcome, Martin. I hope you're safe and well.
Yeah, thanks, Arnie. We are, and hope the same for you and your family.
Thank you so much. I have a few questions for you this morning. First one, tell us about your business and FPX Nickel. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so FPX Nickel is a Vancouver-based venture-listed company focused in nickel and focused on the development of a very large-scale nickel project in British Columbia called Dakar. Dakar is one of the largest nickel deposits in the world. It's at the PEA stage, so it has a resource and an economic study behind it. We think it's going to be a project that gets built into a mine potentially within the next decade. And we think it's something ultimately that could sit in the hands of a major company, given its scale, given the fact that it's located in a great jurisdiction in BC, close to other operating mines. And perhaps most importantly, the economic study shows that it could have operating costs in the lowest quartile of the cost curve.
Fantastic. What are some of the catalysts that may potentially positively affect your business?
Yeah, there's two I'd say people could look for this year, two main ones. The first is we're working on an updated preliminary economic assessment, or PEA, to give an economic snapshot of the project. The last study was done in 2013, so it's time to refresh that using current assumptions on metal prices, et cetera, and also looking at and folding in a lot of the improvements we've made to the project via drilling and metallurgical improvements over the last several years. So that's something that people can look for in Q3 or potentially early Q4 of this year. And beyond that, we've been doing some work alongside the University of British Columbia, studying the development of a project here that could be ultimately a carbon neutral mine. That would be affected via the sequestration of carbon dioxide in our mine waste. So further work on that would include a potential field trial this summer at the project. And again, that would be an important step in ultimately helping us to demonstrate this project has the potential to be a carbon neutral operation, which would be sort of transformational for the mining space in Canada.
Wow, that's really interesting. How would you sum up FPX Nickel's investment proposition?
Sure. I mean, first of all, I guess we're a vehicle for people to look at making investment in nickel as a commodity, given that that's our underlying commodity focus. And so like most junior companies, we can potentially offer leverage to the underlying nickel price. But beyond that, beyond just being an option on the nickel price, we think that we have the potential to demonstrate a best-in-class type of asset here that ultimately we think has the scale to sit in the hands of a major company. And so investment in FPX is an investment in nickel, but it's also an investment in what we think is a very strong asset.
That's great. Tell me, what does being listed on the TSX Venture Exchange mean to your company and your stakeholders?
Yeah, I mean, the Venture Exchange is globally recognized as being a premier exchange for public company mining companies, particularly junior companies. And so there's a brand name association there that I think checks a lot of boxes for people, for investors and stakeholders, given the regulatory requirements, et cetera, that are required to stay listed on the Venture Exchange. And the Venture Exchange also offers interesting platforms for communication to help companies get their story out. And that's obviously a fundamental part of being a public company. So that's another key feature I would point to.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Based on your experience, do you have any advice for companies to navigate these unprecedented times? Here we are at the beginning of May of 2020.
Yeah, these are definitely difficult times for the global economy. We're fortunate, FPX is fortunate in that we've got a couple of $1 million in the bank, and so we're well funded to be able to do our programs for this year and well into next year. For companies that that have that funding, I think it should be about communicating what if there's any changes to the strategy or not as a result of the pandemic. For those that don't have that money, I would certainly suggest they try to raise money as soon as possible and kind of risk mitigate against any potential difficulty raising money in later periods.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining me today, and we will see you on the markets.
Thanks, Arnie. Appreciate it.
Take care.